basics of programming. Okay, so let's understand what is a program. So in layman language, in like normally speaking, program is something which will do some kind of computation for you. So anything which is going to do some kind of computation for you, it is a program. And now why we call it as a language? Because in like we have languages like Hindi, English. So there are some grammatical constructs for that language, which like if you form those, if you just have some words, you will need some kind of grammar so that it starts making sense to you. So that's why like even for the computer to understand, you need some grammar, basically the syntax, or there are some constructs which is required. That's why we call it as programming language. Okay, so something which is going to do some kind of computation for you, and this language is for the computers to understand. Okay, now when I'm saying that programming is something which will compute for you, which will do some kind of computation for you, for that you require data, right? So there could be like you will need to pass data. Like in traditional programming language, what is there? Like you have this. If I say this is a traditional programming language, traditional program, you will feed some data and you will feed some rules, and then finally you will get an answer. This is how a traditional program works. Okay, now to work with data, you need to store those data so that you can do some kind of computation on top of that. Okay, so just in like in maths, you have variables. When you say x equals to 5, this is your variable which is going to hold the value 5. So whatever is there on the right hand side will be assigned to the variable on left hand side. So here x is your value variable and 5 is your value or the data. Okay, and this is your variable. Now there could be different kind of data, and you need to your computer should understand like on what kind of data it is going to work. Okay, so on like very basics, there are like 3-4 kinds of data. So the first one is, I will be talking in terms of Python little bit. So we call it as int, which is like integral values. Now what is integral? Whole numbers, basically whole numbers, natural numbers, which is not having a decimal part, which is not having a decimal value. So those are integral values. Okay, similarly we have another data type which is called as float. Okay, this is your decimal values. Then we have a data type called as bool or boolean. This is always going to be true or false. Another data type is string. This is character values like alphanumeric. It can store numerical values, it can store characters, some special characters. So all different characters which are possible will be stored in data type string. Okay, so like these are 4 basic data types with which we will be working on. Okay, so you need variables, and in these variables you will be storing either one of these 4 data types. Okay, there will be a value which will be either integral value or a float value or a boolean value or a string value that will be stored in these variables, and whatever is there on the right hand side will be stored on the variable which is on the left hand side. Okay, uh, Avik, you can just tell me if there are any questions or anything. Maybe I can just answer to them. As of now, there is any questions from anyone? Okay. Okay, I will take that as a no. So again, I'm repeating the things which we have discussed. So to work with programming languages, to work with a program, you need to have some data on which you will be doing some kind of computation. And to store those data, to work with those data, you will be storing them in some variable. So you can consider these variables as some containers which is holding your data on which you will be working on. Okay. Now, these variables which are there can store different types of data. For now, we are discussing the 4 basic kinds of data which can be there, like integral values, float values, Boolean values, and string values. So integral values, whole numbers, there will be no decimal. Float, which will have a decimal value. Boolean, which will just store true or false. String, which will store alphanumeric values. Now, apart from this, in basic programming language, you have something called as if then else construct. So forget about syntax and everything right now. We will be discussing a lot, like we will be solving a lot of problems related to this to clear these concepts. But right now, I'm not discussing about Python syntax or anything. Like in generally, like what are there in programming language. So from like after data and data types, there is something called as if then else. So the construct is something like this. You have if, then you have a Boolean condition. Now this Boolean condition is always going to be either true or false. So if Boolean condition, and then you give your action here. So if this Boolean condition is true, then this action will be performed. There could be like nested if then else condition. So if Boolean condition, if this is true, perform. So let me give it Boolean condition 1. If Boolean condition 1 is true, action 1 will be performed. We can have nested, as in like we can say if, and we can have Boolean condition 2. Okay. And if Boolean condition 1 is false, if and only if Boolean condition 1 is false, then Boolean condition 2 will be checked. Now, if Boolean condition 2 is true, then action 2 will be performed. So this way you can have nested if then else block. Okay, you can have nested like if, elif like this. Boolean condition 1, Boolean condition 2, Boolean condition 3, and action 1, action 2, action 3. This way you can have nested if elif kind of construct. And finally, you can have something called as else. So this else block will get executed only if all the above Boolean conditions are false. All these Boolean conditions are false, then only this else block will get executed. Okay. Now, maybe we can just try to solve a simple problem to understand this if then else condition. So forget, like I'm just giving a basic problem. I'm not trying to handle any exceptions or anything. Just to understand this concept, let's take a simple problem. So the problem is this. Let's say we have a number. We are getting a number. We are accepting a number. The computer is accepting a number, and then we need to check whether this number is less than 100. If the number is less than 100, if number is less than 100, print less than 100. And if the number is less than 50, print less than 50. So for example, like if I have number 49, it should print less than 50. But if I have number 75, it should print less than 100, because it is greater than 50 but less than 100, so it should print less than 100 and not less than 50 or anything. So if the number is 49, it should print less than 50. If the number is 75, it should print less than 100. So usually what happens, like if I give this question to the students, and if I say like the first condition is to check number less than 100, and the second condition is to check number is less than 50, usually what answer I get is this. Usually students will say, like I can have something like this. If number is less than 100, print less than 100, and then else print less than 50. So usually this is what I get as an answer from the students. But let's validate this solution, whether this solution is correct or not. Now, if I say 49, the first condition will get checked, and this will become true because the number is less than 100, and it will print less than 100. And when I say 75, again this condition is true, and it will print less than 100. But what was my expectation? I wanted to print for 49, I wanted an answer as less than 50, but not less than 100. But if you observe this solution, you will see that this part of block, this part of code is never getting executed. Your program is never reaching this line of code. So the reason I gave this question, the reason I'm explaining this simple question is to make you understand the sequence of if then else condition is important. So all you need to do to fix this solution is you can have if number is less than 50, then print less than 50, else if number is less than 100, print less than 100, and your program will start working correctly. I'm just changing the sequence, like this block of code I shifted here, and this is coming down. That's it. So the only thing to remember here is sequence of if then else condition is important. Apart from that, like syntax wise, we will cover those things while solving problems. We will learn those things. Don't worry about it right now. But again, coming back to the concepts that we have discussed so far, there is something called as variables, which will store your data on which you will be doing your computation. There are different data types on which you will be writing a program or on which computation will be done. For now, we have discussed 4 different data types. One is integral value, the other one is float value, then Boolean values, and your string values. So I will be going in detail about all these data types and all these if then else condition in future classes. The agenda, the motive of discussing all this at a stretch, like everything at one go, is to make you guys start solving problems as soon as possible. So any questions with this if then else condition? The only thing to remember is you have if, you have a Boolean condition, always a Boolean condition, which will be either true or false. The output of this condition is going to be either true or false. And you can have nested if then else, like if, elif, multiple Boolean condition 1, Boolean condition 2. And in every if block, there will be action 1. In next if block, there will be action 2. In next if block, there will be action 3. This way. And finally, you have, like, if none of the conditions above are met, you have a default block, which is called as else block. And the other thing to remember here in if then else is the sequence. The only thing you need to like maybe just you need to consider, or you need to be like giving little bit of attention, is the sequence of your if then else condition. Any questions in if then else block? Okay. Now, when you write a program, if I give you a problem like print hello world 5 times, the simplest solution you can do is print hello world. And then you can write this 5 times. You can write this 5 times. But what if I say that you write this or you print hello world 500 times? Writing this 500 times is going to be cumbersome. So if you want to do a given set of tasks again and again, multiple times, we have something called as loops in programming language. Okay. So there are different kinds of loops in a programming language. We have something called as for loop. We have while loop, and we have do while loop. Now we will understand the difference, like when to use for loop, when to use while loop, and when to use do while loop. But for now, just remember, like there are 3 types of loops in any programming language. One is for loop, the other one is while loop, and the other one is do while loop. In Python, we do not have do while loop. But in future classes, I will be explaining a trick by which you can implement do while loop. And once I explain the trick, you will realize that this do while loop is not required in any programming language. Just for the sake of completeness, they add do while loop in programming languages. Otherwise, this do while is not required. You can just apply a trick, and just by using while loop, you can implement do while loop. Okay. Now, how these loops work? So a simple example, I will first try to explain for loop. Forget about syntax, Python syntax right now. I will try to explain this for loop through a Java syntax. So how we write for loop, we say for, I will not be using Java syntax also exactly the way it is, but I will just for the sake of explaining the concept, I'm like using a similar construct. So for, I will have something called as counter or iterator. Like when I'm going in a loop, when I'm doing that same thing and again, I need to maintain a count, like how many times I have done and how many times I have to do it. So like there needs to be some variable in which I will be maintaining that count. So I need a variable, I'm calling it as an iterator or a counter, and I will initialize it with some value. So for, let's say I'm saying I equals to 0. That means start from 0 and then do this action till some value of I, till I becomes like the counter becomes 5 or 10, something like this. So I'm starting with I equals to 0, and then I'm saying I less than 10. Do this loop until this I is less than 10. And every time I'm doing that action, I need to increment this value of I. So I equals to 0, I initialize this, then I'm saying I less than 10, I'm checking a condition, and then maybe I can say I equals to I plus 1. After every loop, after that action is performed first time, increment the value of I. Again, increment the value of I. So this is initialization. This will be done first time. This is done first time. This condition will be checked in every subsequent call, and you will be incrementing the value of I by 1 every time. And then here you will be writing your actions. Action I. So basically, what I'm saying here, action I as in, like I'm starting from 0. So the first time it will perform action 0, then action 1, then action 2, then action 3, then action 4. Although this action will be same because your inner code is not going to change dynamically, this action is going to remain same. But for just sake of like how many times I'm doing that same action, I'm saying action of I. So this is your syntax. I equals to 0. I'm initializing a counter, and till that counter is less than 10, I am saying I equals to I plus 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 1 and then perform that action. Okay. Now, this is your for loop. We will come to Python syntax, but for now, just try to understand like how for loop works. So this is the whole idea. Now coming to while loop. So while loop. So in while loop, what you will do, like you will say while some Boolean condition and till this Boolean condition is true, till this condition is true, perform the action. Okay. You have a Boolean condition over here. You have this like while your syntax, and then you're saying like till this Boolean condition is true, perform this action. So there are few things that you need to remember when you are working with loops. Like specifically when you are working with while loop, you need to consider that at some point of time this Boolean condition should become false. Otherwise your loop will go into infinite loop. It will never end. It will keep running on. So you need to make sure at some point this Boolean condition must become false. Similarly, in for loop, you need to ensure that like you have this right set of counter check. Now coming to the do while loop. So basically in do while loop, what you do, you say do, and then you perform some action, and then finally you say while, and here you give your Boolean condition. Now let's understand little bit of like everything else remains same in while loop and do while loop. The only difference you see here is in while loop, you are first checking the condition and then you are doing the action. While in do while loop, you are performing the action first and then you are checking the condition. Okay. Now let's understand, like let's take a simple analogy and try to understand when to use for loop, when to use while loop, and when to use do while loop. Okay. So I'm just giving one example to use do while loop. Let's say I have a login page. Okay, I have a website, and the user is going to perform some action. So when the user is trying to hit my website, I need to validate its credentials, maybe the username and password. So before checking in, or maybe like I'm going in a loop and I'm doing some set of task and I'm performing some actions. But the first thing is I need to validate the credentials of the user. So to do that, what I need to do, I will have a do while loop. So do action. So here I may be performing the credentials verification. And then finally, Boolean condition, like if the credentials are false, come out of the loop. Something that way. But anyways, like we will be discussing more on these concepts. But for now, there are three types of loops in any programming languages. The first one is for loop, the other one is while loop, and the third one is do while loop. In Python, we do not have do while loop, but with a trick, we can implement do while loop. Okay. Now, the basic idea is like any problem which requires a loop, you can work either with for loop or with while loop. You can tweak your while loop to work similar like how the for loop works, and you can get your task done. But there are some recommendations. Okay. So any programming language, they recommend whenever you know like how many times you need to perform that action, use a for loop always, because for loop is sometimes faster and it is very intuitive. You know like what you are doing in your code. while loop, sometimes it will become difficult to debug. Okay, so whenever you know the exact number of iterations you want to do, use a for loop. So the first question which I was discussing, print hello world 500 times. I know that I need to print it 500 times. So I will be using for loop there. But when you don't know the exact number of iterations you are going to perform, then use a while loop. For example, let's say I am writing a simple program which is accepting some numbers from the user and printing it to text. So let's say if the user is entering the number 1, computer will print 1. If the user is entering number 2, computer will print 2. And this will be keep happening. I mean, I will keep doing this until user presses Q. So when the user presses Q, the computer will understand, okay, the user wants to quit. Let's come out of the loop. Otherwise, always keep asking for the next input, that way. Now, in this use case, I don't know when the user is going to press Q. Maybe at the first iteration itself, the user will press Q and it will come out of the loop, or maybe at the second iteration, or maybe at the 500 iteration. So I don't know exactly at what number, at what count the user is going to press Q. So I may not be able to use for loop here. So in this scenario, use a while loop. That is the only difference that you need to understand right now. So when you know the exact number of iteration, use for loop. When you do not know the exact number of iteration, use a while loop. And when you want to do the action at least one time, I mean, whether the condition is true or false, you do not care, just you want to perform the action at least one time, use a do while loop. Because if you see here, after performing this action, the condition is checked. So it will come out of the loop after performing this action at least one time. And while in while loop, maybe the first time itself this Boolean condition is false and this action will never get performed. So here, if someone asks like how many times the action will be performed in a while loop, so it can be 0 or your till the condition is true, maybe let's say n, something like this, both inclusive. And while in do while loop, it will be 1 and n. Any questions so far?
Sir, can you again say about do while loop?
Okay, so 1 second. Yeah, so do while loop is similar to while loop. You have a Boolean condition, which when it is true, then your action will be executed. Your action will be done. But here the scenario is like one time it is going to get executed. This action is going to get executed the first time, even if the condition is false. So if you just see the analogy or the use case that I was discussing, there is a simple web page and some user is trying to hit that web page. Maybe I need to validate the credential of the user. So maybe I am checking something else. Maybe there is some condition for which I will be performing that loop. But without the true or false of that condition, I need to at least validate the credential of the user. So I need to perform the action even if the other conditions are false. So whenever I want to perform action at least one time, even if the condition is false, I will be using do while loop. We will see, like we will be discussing some of the problems and which will help you to understand this do while loop more, but for now, like some of the problems may be not be directly related to do while loop, but we will be seeing some problems where like intermediate steps will require a do while loop or something. But for now, you can remember, like when you want to perform action at least one time, even if the condition is false. So if what is the difference between while loop and do while loop? In while loop, if the condition is false, your action will not get performed even once. But in do while loop, even if the condition is false, the action will be performed at least one time. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now